Welcome to the Geostrategic Podcast.
So today we're taking a deep dive into the escalating situation around Iran's nuclear program.
Right.
And this isn't just about scanning headlines. We want you to understand the intricate dance of diplomacy, that ever-present threat of sanctions, and the frankly profound implications for global geostrategy. And of course, tensions in the Middle East.
Absolutely. And our sources today, we're looking at the latest reports, analyses, direct statements. They really paint a picture of a world on edge, wouldn't you say?
Definitely on edge. Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack this by starting with probably the most recent and assertive move we've seen. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He delivered a very strong message, didn't he? August 24th, 2025.
Oh, absolutely. Very strong. He didn't pull any punches.
No, he flat out declared Iran won't be obedient to the United States. He even called U.S. demands a grave insult. I mean, beyond the rhetoric, what's the strategic significance of such a blunt statement?
Well, it's fascinating because it's not just rhetoric, is it? It's a strategic move. He's effectively signaling Iran's non-negotiables before any formal talks really get traction again.
Ah, okay, setting the stage.
Exactly. Khamenei is sort of redrawing the starting line for any future negotiations. He's forcing the E3, that's France, the UK, Germany, and the wider international community, to reassess their leverage, their opening positions.
Right.
He literally said the Iranian nation will stand with all of its power against those who have such erroneous expectations. And he stressed that direct talks with the U.S. unsolvable right now. Why? Because the U.S., in his view, wants Iran to be obedient.
So it's a projection of unshakable resolve then?
I think that's exactly the intent. It's meant to project exactly that, unshakable resolve.
Okay, so Khamenei lays down this defiant marker. How does that actually play out in the negotiation rooms? Because just 2 days later, August 26th, we saw Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazim Garibabadi in Geneva, meeting with the E3, EU coordinating. And the big issue there was the E3's threat, the one they've been making for a while, to trigger the snapback mechanism, reimpose UN sanctions. Is Khamenei's statement basically aimed at preempting that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a clear signal. The E3 have been explicitly threatening to activate this snapback by October. That would roll back international sanctions relief, slap UN penalties back on Iran.
Yeah.
But Iran, through Garibabadi in Geneva, they explicitly told the Europeans, quote, they do not have the right to trigger the mechanism.
Wow. Okay. So a direct challenge.
It's a direct challenge, not just a negotiation point. It challenges the Europeans' perceived authority, and it's a move to sort of chip away at their leverage. And the timing, as you mentioned, is critical.
The October deadline.
That October deadline. The window closes then. If they don't trigger snapback by then, UN sanctions would be permanently removed. That's a huge bargaining chip for the Europeans. Just gone.
Oof. It's a real pressure cooker then, a ticking clock.
It's a classic chess clock scenario, yeah.
And Eddard isn't exactly being subtle about the potential consequences either, are they?
Yeah.
Their foreign ministry spokesperson, Esmail Bae, also on August 26th, stated Tehran warned the E3 that reimposing UN sanctions will have consequences, and that Iran would deliver a harsh response if sanctions come back. But it really sounds like they're drawing a very public line in the sand, daring the E3 to cross it.
Indeed. And you have to assume this isn't just an empty threat. It feels like a calculated projection of potential countermoves. Bakai's comments highlighted Tehran's focus on preventing actions or incidents that may be costly for the country, and stressed they're negotiating with all our might.
So careful calculation, not just bluster.
That's what it suggests. They're calculating various response options. And importantly, Iran isn't just relying on these direct warnings. They're actively working with allies like China and Russia to block the reimposition of sanctions.
Okay, so it's a wider diplomatic game too.
It's a multi-board chess match, exactly, not just about Geneva.
Okay, and to really understand why these current threats and counter-threats carry so much weight, we absolutely have to step back a bit, revisit the history that got us here.
Crucial context.
Yeah, remember the JCPOA, the 2015 nuclear deal. Its core promise, as many listening will know, was Iran capping uranium enrichment, 3.67%, plus robust IAEA inspections. In return, some Western sanctions relief.
The basic bargain, yeah.
But that whole framework, well, it's obviously fractured now, severely. And Iran's current enrichment levels tell a totally different story.
They really do. That deal was, the linchpin, designed to curb Iran's potential path to a weapon. But the game board just got completely flipped in 2018.
When Trump pulled the U.S. out.
Right. President Trump unilaterally withdrew the U.S., then slapped on those what he termed crippling sanctions as part of his maximum pressure policy. That move just fundamentally altered the strategic landscape.
Pushed Iran into a corner, really.
Essentially, yes. And set the stage for so much of the tension we're seeing play out right now. It shattered that delicate balance that had been painstakingly put together.
In Iran's response, well, they started walking away from their side of the deal, too. A year later, 2019, suspended cooperation with the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog.
Yeah.
But what's really striking now, and maybe easy to overlook, is their current enrichment level, 60%.
Yeah, that's a huge leap.
Huge jump from the 3.67% cap in the deal. Now, okay, 90% is generally needed for a weapon, and Iran insists its program is peaceful, civilian.
They maintain that stance firmly.
Right. But this 60% level, it's a profound step. What message are they sending by enriching that high? What new capabilities does it imply?
Well, that 60% figure is critical. Technically, it dramatically cuts down the breakout time. The theoretical time it would take Iran to produce enough weapons-grade uranium for, say, one nuclear device if they decided to go for it.
Okay. So it shortens the runway significantly.
Significantly. So it's not just a technical detail. It's a powerful statement of capability.
Yeah.
Or, at the very least, a powerful demonstration of leverage.
Right, leverage.
And it brings us directly to something major that happened just a few months back, June 2025, that 12-day war. That conflict just profoundly impacted the whole landscape. It was a massive disruption to any diplomatic path that might have existed then.
That war was intense. Israel struck Iran, killed, reportedly, top commanders, nuclear scientists, and hundreds of civilians, hit military sites, but also residential areas.
Yes, significant impact.
And the U.S. wasn't just watching. They intervened on Israel's behalf, carried out massive strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities. The scale was huge. It ended with a ceasefire, June 24th. But here's a detail that maybe gets lost sometimes. Iran's retaliatory missile strikes actually managed to overwhelm Israeli defense systems, at least temporarily. That forced a halt. That's a pretty profound tactical detail, isn't it? What does that tell us?
That is a crucial point. And it fundamentally altered the strategic calculus for everyone involved. Iran's ability to actually overwhelm those advanced defenses, even for limited time, it showcased a level of military capability and, frankly, resolve that definitely got attention in Tel Aviv and Washington.
Right, not just a minor skirmish.
Not at all. This was a direct, significant military confrontation with immediate strategic consequences. And as you said, it just derailed everything. It derailed Tehran's nuclear negotiations with the United States, which were actually in their 5th round before the fighting started.
Wow, 5th round.
Yeah. So that meeting in Geneva on Tuesday, August 26th, that was only the 2nd round of talks between Iranian and European diplomats since that June war.
So the trust, which was already thin, must be shattered.
Shattered even further. It makes any diplomatic path incredibly challenging, maybe redefined entirely.
Okay, so in the face of all this pressure, the snapback threats, the sanctions, this very recent, very real military conflict, Iran seems to be projecting this remarkably unified front domestically.
That's a key theme, yes.
Khamenei's statements on August 24th, they didn't just focus outwards. He also talked about U.S. efforts to create discord inside Iran. He blamed agents of America and the Zionist regime for trying to sow division. And then he urged Iranians to stay united. So this isn't just a generic call for unity, is it? Is it a strategic message? Are they signaling to the E3, hey, internal pressure isn't a vulnerability you can exploit?
I think that's precisely it. This call for national unity, it's not solely for domestic consumption. It is absolutely a carefully crafted projection for the international community.
Okay.
The aim seems to be eroding any external belief that internal dissent could weaken Iran's resolve, effectively turning national cohesion into, like, a diplomatic shield.
A shield, right.
And this message was strongly echoed by President Masoud Pezeshkian just a day later, August 25th. He emphasized the resilience and unity of the Iranian people in the face of foreign pressure. He even attributed recent setbacks for the U.S. and Israel to this very cohesion.
Interesting framing.
Very. He even said, our people are neither left nor right. Iran does not belong to any single group or faction. It belongs to all its people with their diverse views and perspectives. That's powerful stuff, aimed at solidifying internal support, yes, but just as much aimed at showing a united front to external adversaries.
And Khamenei doubled down on this, describing solidarity between the people, the government, and the armed forces as an invincible shield that must not be weakened. He said this at a mourning ceremony, which gives it extra weight.
That imagery, invincible shield, it speaks volumes about how Iran sees its internal strength as a primary defense.
Yeah.
And President Pezeshkian specifically praised the public's steadfast support during that 12-day war. He noted the people stood united to thwart those who sought to sow division among them. This whole narrative isn't just about what happened, but how the nation supposedly responded.
Creates a self-reinforcing story.
Exactly, a powerful narrative of unity and resilience against external threats. It becomes a core part of their current political and diplomatic messaging. They're trying to show a country that's internally cohesive, making their external defiance seem even stronger, more credible.
It certainly paints that picture of unwavering unity. But how much is that the message for external powers, and how much is it maybe a necessary internal narrative after the conflict?
That's the question, isn't it?
Khamenei asserted Iran's steadfastness forced Washington to abandon humiliating demands for submission, highlighting this resilience during what he called the Israeli-U.S. war of aggression. It really portrays a nation believing its unity is strength and that strength gets results.
You've hit a critical point. It's almost certainly both, right? It's a necessary internal narrative. You need to rally support after a major conflict like that. But it's also highly strategic as an external projection.
Okay.
Pezeshkian's comments about Iran belonging to all its people, diverse views and all, really cements this image of broad national consensus. For outsiders, the implication is pressuring the regime won't make it collapse internally. It might even solidify resistance.
Making coercive tactics less appealing, or at least less likely to succeed.
Precisely. It's a powerful psychological element in this whole game.
So let's pivot to the future impact.
Sure.
What does all this mean for world geostrategy, for tensions in the Middle East? We're clearly watching this incredibly delicate balance, this geopolitical tightrope walk. The E3's snapback threat, designed to force compliance, is met head-on by Iran's warnings of harsh responses. This feels like a really high-stakes moment.
It creates an incredibly significant dilemma, particularly for the European powers, but really for global stability. Think about it. If sanctions are reimposed by the E3 come October, how does Iran respond?
Right. What does harsh mean?
Exactly. Given their current 60% enrichment, their stated commitment to the program, their recent military showing, a harsh response could mean several things. Maybe further accelerating enrichment.
Core's 90%.
Potentially. Or maybe even withdrawing from the Non-Proliferation Treaty altogether. That would be a monumental step.
Huge implications.
Or it could mean increased support for regional proxies, other destabilizing actions in what's already a powder keg of a region. The potential for miscalculation here is just immense, and the stakes are global, way beyond just the nuclear file itself.
And we absolutely can't forget how that 12-day war just fundamentally changed the landscape. Direct targeting of nuclear facilities, significant casualties, it deepened the animosity hugely. It's not just diplomatic disagreement anymore. There's recent blood on the ground. A direct military confrontation happened. That sets a dangerous precedent.
It really does. And Khamenei directly blaming agents of America and the Zionist regime for sowing division, that signals a level of mistrust, of hostility that won't just evaporate easily.
Well, quick fixes there.
No, this isn't solely about the nuclear program anymore, if it ever was. It's tangled up in a broader regional power struggle, deep historical grievances, and now it's been exacerbated by direct military conflict. The pieces on the chessboard are actively clashing, not just moving.
Okay, so let's focus on the European powers, the E3, the EU. Their strategy, based on what we're seeing, seems like very careful navigation, trying to keep diplomacy alive while holding that snapback mechanism as leverage. But what are their actual options now? And what conclusions can they draw from Iran's very defiant stance?
That really is the crux of it for them, isn't it? The European powers seem to be operating with basically two primary options, and that October deadline looms over both.
Okay, option one.
Option one, and clearly their preference, is to keep using diplomatic pressure. Try to get Iran back to the table, back into compliance with the JCPOA limits. That's what the Geneva talks are ultimately about, finding a path to de-escalate, revert to the old framework.
And option two?
Option two is the threat they've made explicit. Activate the snapback mechanism by October. They've signaled they are prepared to do this if Iran doesn't comply.
Right.
So the conclusion they must be drawing is that right now, Iran seems unwilling to be coerced. Their message of unity, combined with their recent military actions, seems to have reinforced their defiance.
Making the E3's leverage very specific.
Exactly. Their leverage really hinges entirely on that October deadline.
Yeah.
If they don't trigger snapback, they lose that leverage permanently. Boof. gone.
But if they do trigger it,
Then they risk major escalation. Those potential harsh responses from Iran, further nuclear steps, regional instability, a complete breakdown of any remaining diplomacy. It's a classic catch-22.
damned if you do, damned if you don't, almost.
It pushes them towards a really tough decision. To cut their losses on the diplomatic track, maybe? Or risk an unpredictable, potentially dangerous escalation?
So for you listening, the core takeaway from this deep dive, I think, is that the Iranian position feels very solidified right now.
Yeah.
It's reinforced by that sense of national unity, real or projected, and the resilience shown in the recent war. It's a stance of unwavering defiance against what they see as foreign coercion.
They feel they stood strong, and they don't seem inclined to back down from their current nuclear path easily.
Which makes that E3 October deadline absolutely pivotal in this whole escalating chess match.
The path forward is just.
Yep.
It's clearly fraught with risk. You've got the looming deadline, Iran's advanced enrichment, the fresh memory of military conflict. It's a situation just ripe for miscalculation, for escalation.
Yeah.
The diplomacy that's happening now isn't in a vacuum. It's under this heavy shadow of threats and military actions. Any easy resolution looks incredibly challenging.
So Western options are really constrained by that reality.
I think so. Maintain this fragile diplomatic path, hoping the deadline forces compliance. Or risk a full breakdown with those unpredictable, harsh responses from Iran. Tough choices.
We've definitely seen a really complex interplay today. Diplomacy, threats, history, recent conflict, all converging around Iran's nuclear program. And it's not abstract policy, is it? It has real-world implications for stability, especially in the Middle East, but also beyond.
Absolutely. And understanding these dynamics, it isn't just for policymakers. It's crucial for anyone, really, trying to make sense of global stability, the future of the Middle East. The decisions made or not made in these next few weeks, particularly around that October deadline, could genuinely shape international relations for years to come.
So here's something provocative for you to think about as we wrap up. Given the deep distrust, Iran's advanced enrichment, that recent war, what do you think is the true cost Iran is trying to prevent here, beyond just the sanctions themselves?
That's a deep question. National pride, regime survival, regional influence.
Maybe all of the above. And what unforeseen consequences might ripple out if this diplomatic tightrope finally snaps? If the E3 feel forced to make their move in October?
Yeah, the unknown unknowns.
Keep a very close eye on those October deadlines. The next few weeks could really redefine regional and global power dynamics. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this discussion valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the Geostrategic Podcast for more in-depth analysis on topics that shape our world. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay tuned for the next episode.